Thank you, Ron. Congressman Lou Barletta.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. This is like the last thing that I thought I was going to be doing in my life. I was elected mayor of Hazelton, which is a small town, maybe about 25,000 people up in northeastern Pennsylvania. "2,000 miles away from the nearest southern border, so it wasn't a town that you would ever expect to have an illegal immigration problem. When I was elected mayor in 2000, for example, in Hazelton area school district, our English as the second language budget was $500. 5 years later, it was $1.5 million. Our population in Hazelton during that time grew by 50%. 50%. That's a huge growth for any community, but our tax revenue stayed the same. Imagine having 50% more people and not 1 cent to provide public services to those folks. We also saw gangs moving into our city, which we weren't used to. There were shootings and they were recruiting children 9 and 10 years old. Our hospitals, the impact it had on our hospitals. The wait time in the Hazelton area General Hospital at the time might be like 20 minutes, usually. Now people were waiting 7, 8, 9 hours. People were using the emergency room for primary health care. When this kind of stuff happens, the quality of life in a small town changes. It's not the same. It's not like a big city where you can't see the difference. I remember we arrested some guy who was in the country illegally for selling crack cocaine on a playground I grew up on. It took our detectives 5 hours to determine who he was. He had 5 Social Security cards. We had no idea who we were dealing with anymore. I had asked Washington for help. They laughed. Nobody came. Nobody would even come around. Final straw for me was May 10th, 2006, a day that I'll never forget. Another young man, 29 years old, named Derek Kishline, father of 3 little children. He was working on his pickup truck when he had some words with Pedro Cabrera, who was the head of the Latin Kings. Cabrera went in his car. By the way, Cabrera, who was in the country illegally, was arrested 6 times in New York and let go of Sanctuary City, ended up in Hazelton. Cabrera went in his car, got a gun, stuck it in Derek's face, shot and killed him. We spent half of our yearly budget in overtime in the police department and catching Cabrera and his buddy. I had to sit with Mr. and Mrs. Kishline when they asked me, why was this man still in the country? Why is our son gone? Why is the father of our grandchildren gone forever? And this man was still here. I had enough. Enough was enough. If the federal government wasn't going to do something, I was. I created the first law in the country at the time dealing with illegal immigration. I was sued immediately the next day by the ACLU. Oh, I made English the official language of Hazelton as well, which they sued. I was sued the next day by the ACLU, and media trucks literally came from all over the world. I got to City Hall, and I couldn't even get into the parking lot. I was wondering what happened. I didn't realize it was me that happened. And I picked up the USA Today, and it was a story talking about what we did in Hazelton, and there was a law professor from the University of Missouri named Professor Chris Kobach. He had said, the mayor has every right to do what he's doing. The law is on his side. That was the first time I heard anybody actually say I could do what I was doing. I had told my secretary, I said, I don't know who this guy is, but please try to get him on the phone. And by chance she did. She said, Professor Kobach's on the phone, and Chris answered, and I told him who I was. He said, what took you so long? Chris came on, and our journey began. We fought this all the way to the Supreme Court. And Arizona had followed, Fremont, Nebraska, and the story goes on and on. So the reason we're here, obvious, is because the federal government has failed us. because the American people can do something that the federal government can't. We can do it better, you can do it faster, and you can do it stronger. And we're not going to stop. I realize one vote doesn't make a difference in Washington. It's you, the American people, that will make the difference. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you for that. Mary Ann Mendoza.
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here.
Oh, well, people need to be awake and they need to be awake and they need to be aware. They need to stand up against the stuff. Oh, well, people need to be awake. People need to be awake and they need to be aware. They need to stand up against the stuff. Oh, well.
And it's so politically engaged. And it's so politically engaged.